Hey, Shop Maniac, you're listening to another episode of Shop Talk Show. That's the podcast.
Oh my God.
Podcast websites stuff. Yeah.
Dave was doing the tire store floaty guy
Oh,
thing.
Mr. Windy.
Yeah.
That could be my vibe. That could be a good Christmas costume for me. Just kind of,
Yeah.
I stand out and give candy, and then just like explode fistfuls of candy over my yard. You know. It's good.
I had it on the mind because I watched that Tires show on Netflix. It was pretty
Oh,
funny. Shane
yeah.
Gillis.
Kind of
It's a little
rowdy but funny sort of thing.
It's
Yeah.
definitely not going to be for everybody. So don't yell at me if you don't like it because it's a little like intentionally on PC or whatever. I don't know how you say that.
That's his vibe. So Shane Gillis. Yep.
So yeah, I was thinking. So we, first of all, we recorded recently, and we talked about AI, which we don't plan to in this episode, as far as I know. But
Zero
GPT,
AI.
other than the fact that during the show, GPT-5 launched. That was
Yeah,
pretty funny.
that was a little like, whoop. But
Yeah.
I've been catching up on the news. I definitely want to like try it.
I guess. Well, I mean, what does it even mean to try it though? Like type crap into the website, or
Yeah,
does it mean
just
use
say,
it as
like-
a API?
say like how many bees does Blueberry have, and it tells me 3. You know, like
God, yeah. I saw that one a little too many times on social media. I'm
everyone-
like, yes, I get that it's wrong.
everyone's riffing. Yeah. What's weird is, the OpenAI comes out, and then the Theo video drops, and then and it's like, oh my God, my life is over.
Fireship
I'm
makes a
changing.
funny.
Fireship
Simon
says-
Willison says something smart.
Yeah. So it's I currently at time of recording, we are in the hype cycle. Like new thing came out. iPhone with better camera takes better pictures. That's where we're at. But it's and I don't even know how I'd value. For me, it's like, does it better understand how I'm talking to it? Does that make sense? Like when I type, does it understand what I'm getting at, and does it feed back information that is A, more accurate, B, in my wheelhouse? So
Yeah, because, gosh, it's all so complicated, like
it's very emotional,
when you
right?
just type a paragraph, you're not giving it any context, but we can use AI in all these other circumstances where context is abundant and it automatically happens, and it's just goddamn everywhere,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have you heard of this idea of context rot that's kind of out there? It's this idea where if you give it more context, the models actually perform worse. So like if you have a large code base with millions and billions of lines of code, it actually performs worse on tasks as the context gets bigger, which is weird or interesting because the opposite, or I feel like I've heard the opposite for like 5 years. Oh, you just got to give it more context, write more paragraphs, do more things, but apparently at a certain point, if you give it way too much context, like my entire code base, it starts tanking. And so anyway, I just, that's an interesting, I don't know, interesting sort of problem, I guess, problem space. That's an interesting problem space. One thing that GPT-5 or OpenAI's thing has is, you can ask it to like code up a website, and it'll use React and Tailwind because that's like what they all do. And then you like hit like preview, and it'll like spin up like a working web app, which, I don't want that going to production. Somebody's going to that. I can't control that. But,
the latest vibe is like you just made yourself a bunch of technical debt. So enjoy
yeah,
that.
cool security loophole or whatever. Yeah, you just like, that's a lot of technical debt. But no, but what is cool about it, or what I should say, like, hey, I need a calculator for my weight and versus my, whatever calories burned or overtime or something.
You're gonna make a home cooked app.
Home cooked app. You could like kind of do a home cooked app, and like then it's saved in a chat, like I don't know if that's good, but I think like there's people who, hey, I want to like whatever calculate the rest of my mortgage. Could you make me a mortgage calculator? And if I did principal, interest, blah, 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 like rather than using like a scammy website that does a mortgage calculator, Now, is it correct? There you go. Good luck. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So.
It's also funny. So, AI is the context of the whole world. That's in the model or whatever. But if you go to Bolt or whatever, any one of the other ones, they spin up an app that does my weight calculation machine. You're giving it super little context otherwise. You could write paragraph upon paragraph of context to give it, but you don't have to. And the less that you have to give it, like the more impressive it seems. Like I don't want to write all that crap.
Yeah.
I want to, and you can go back and forth and give it more context if it doesn't do it to your liking and all this stuff for nuance. But it's interesting. Sometimes it just has a mountain of context, and I think that's so interesting. I just finally used Claude Code. I'm just not like a command line hero, but in Claude Code only really works in the command line. You can use Claude as the model in other things, but like Claude Code, when you say that, it means it's like this CLI thing. Mm-hmm. Right, and you go to your code base and you type Claude, and now you're in that mode, and so it was really nice. You're reminded once in a while that you can make like pretty nice interfaces in a CLI. Like they clearly put some love and care into it, and I think it's pretty neat. And it did a good job. I just did some testy stuff for it. Interestingly, I wanted to solve this problem that plagues me. Right? Oh God, we're doing it again. I swear to God, we're gonna not do this one time, but it's interesting to do because there's a connection to web development generally. We have some Next.js apps, right, Dave? You spin up a Docker, the Next.js has to compile and do its stuff, and then it will show the site. And the first time you hit it, it's like starting very raw, and it might take like a minute to come up, which sucks, right? But whatever, that's where we're at. It's a big mono repo. There's stuff to do. It's really not that bad. But our Nginx doesn't wait the whole minute. So the first time you hit a URL that's like our new editor, it'll be like, 403
localhost
or
4000
608
sad cat not found. Yeah.
I don't know. I forget which code it spits out, but then you just hit Command R and it's done compiling and the app just pops right up, right? So I'm like, this is such a dumb little DevOps thing. Like I'm not gonna bug Alex to be like, dude, could you like extend the Nginx proxy wait time in our app to, you know what I mean, please?
Until mounted. Yeah.
But who could? Claude Code,
Yeah.
But so I spin it up and I was like, go look, take a look around. Right when you do it, the first thing it wants to do is make a Claude.md file, which is like, I don't know, must use some different mod. It figures out all kinds of crap about your app. And the first time I ever saw this was the sidebar augment that you put in VS Code. It's like a Copilot competitor. It did this too. The first time you use it, it like goes into explore mode and gives itself a chunk load of context about your app, way more than your paragraphs you're typing in it. It knows a ton about your app. And you know what else it's got? This is crucial, I think. It has your .git folder, which is every commit you ever made in your life.
Ooh, whoops.
Think of the context it has there and how you talk and work and what's important to you and what commits look like in your company and stuff. I think that's crazy. Anyway.
Okay. Well, it might have some API keys in there. Yeah. Okay. Like, whoops. Like, okay. Sue me. Yeah.
I'm talking out of turn almost. I know it's right on disk, so it's sitting there. I assume it's using it. I have seen it run little Git logs and stuff to figure stuff out, so I just assume that it's doing that stuff. But anyway, it figures it out for me, but it touches like a zillion files, and it had to, the way we generate Nginx config is special, and it figured it out, and I thought it did a pretty good job, but then it didn't quite work, and we had to adjust some Go server code to it, and it gets done. And I'm 30 minutes into this freaking doing it, and I think it's done, but then I'm like, I'm throwing it away. I'm throwing it in the garbage because I cannot ask Alex to review this code that I don't even fully get and I'm not really responsible for. I won't do it. I can't do it. It's like it's turning my 30 minutes into his 2 hours. That's BS,
I thought this was going to be breaking news. Claude replaces CTO. I thought you were going to give us like a really good headline, but
no.
Instead,
I don't even know what to say. I didn't even make a big deal about it. I didn't like tell the company, "Hey, don't do this." Like, don't, because I think it's a little implied, Like, so don't bug each other.
Chris, we got to work on this. Now the headline I have is front end developer has ethical concerns. Which, dude, welcome to the club. That's everybody.
Yeah, I know. I ruined it with my.
Man. No, we actually had that discussion this week. It was just sort of like, just the way we have our components set up, like we actually have like TS doc all throughout our components, right? Like just fully documented. And somebody figured out, hey, I can just say like, can you generate a README, like a proper full README, you know? And it was like and that's super helpful just for like, we just need more READMEs or like how usages, how to use it, you know, not just beyond Storybook. And so, in kind of the context of the Storybook stories and the, you know, the TS doc, like it could actually do a good job. But my request was, can we make sure these are human reviewed before PR, because, or like, you know, validated, make sure that it's all correct, so that the PR reviewer isn't in charge of quality assurance. Like they should be from like a, you know, like, you know, just things going in the repo are correct sense, but like, you know, like slopping and making it somebody else's problem is not the culture we want to build internally. So that's kind of, so I think there is sort of like this ethics of like, you know, like I can generate fast and, you know, fix my server problem in 30 minutes, but who am I passing that problem to somebody or what? So I think that's a
It's
good
almost
concern.
like I don't know, you want to say, even if you used AI, do you have as many hours into this as you expect it's going to take to review? Like, isn't there, that was almost a Simon Willison thing too, was that like, I don't want to read something that takes me longer to read than it took you
To generate
time to create.
Yeah.
Which is some kind of, you know, like, yes. Oh, it almost feels like, of course, now, to me. Like,
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, yeah. In this situation, it was just something we didn't do, and now it's like, whoops, we probably need to like beef this up, you know, and kind of create a consistent outline, and so it was able to do that pretty well. So
That's cool.
You know,
I
don't know.
Part of what I think about is when a thing drops like this, there are people that do the blueberry thing. And you're like, okay, you got it. You tricked it. Good for you. You gave it one sentence. I'm like so less interested in what...
Take down.
Yeah.
Just take down.
Isn't it way more interesting to think, what does this model do if I give it my entire repo, my entire Git history? I'm asking it to do complex tasks for me. How does it reason about them? Like that type of stuff feels like 1,000 miles different from how many blueberries. And it's not, but it's not without some merit. Because I watched a Simon Willison video where he was like, what happened in the last year in AI? And he's like the best guy in the world to explain it. And he does have a one-line prompt, which he uses to compare models, which does seem kind of fair, actually. And his is like, have you seen this video? It's like he types in like, do not a penguin, the big pink bird.
Pelican riding a bicycle.
Yeah. And it gets better and better over time. And I think that's going to become more and more of a compelling prompt as you watch these models get better and better. I mean, it does end up being a decent proxy for it. So it's like, sure, you know, sometimes the contextless one-line prompt is a little interesting. But for me, I'm like, I want to know, what does it do in these like 30-minute agentic blast-throughs of asking it to do complex stuff is like very different. And I also don't mind that it's just incrementally better, even if that's what it turns out to be, is like GTP5 is a little better and Claude 4.4 comes out or something and it's a little bit better and they just get a little bit better. It seems okay to me. I mean, and I hate to, every time we mention this, I feel like it does still bother me that it has to just chew up the internet with no permission whatsoever to get these gains. So I'll always caveat that. Still don't love it, but you know, I don't know what to say about that. Like,
yeah, I'll be on the ecological stuff bothers me, so I'll be on that. I'll hold up that tent pole, and you hold up the content one, and together we have a fence.
Right.
Now,
it's worth mentioning because I don't want to be the show where like, well, we talked about AI and we just skipped over all the bad stuff again.
Yeah. I think it is interesting. I think it hopefully, I don't know. I think hopefully this GPT-5 simplifies things is sort of my understanding. Like there's like 7 different 4 models, you know, and they had a
it's got
false
the
start.
router inside. If I was the CTO of that crap, I would have been like, we need to just have
Buckle
a
down,
text
mow
box
it
and
down.
you type into it, and then it uses the right model, and that's exactly what they did. So clap for that.
I think that's kind of cool. I mean, yeah, it does feel like only nerds should know what they are talking to. Like, like you shouldn't have to select your, you know, like from a UI perspective, like you shouldn't have to select which robot you're talking to. Just, I don't super care about that. Like just you know, I guess I do care if it like starts handing things off to Mecha Hitler, but you know, that's
yeah, right.
it
does kind of matter. I mean, some models are, you know, I used this one a while back that was like generate a report about this, you know, whatever model that is, where you type in basically a sentence and get back like a 30-page PDF. Like, don't just default to that model, please.
Yeah. Thinking tool, not doing tool is what I'm asking for. Thinking tool, not doing tool.
There you go.
So you're witnessing, Chris, change the subject. You're witnessing a rare event, okay?
Right now, in
You
my eyes.
and all YouTube Shopomaniacs, audio Shopomaniacs
Wow.
probably can hear it, but can't, you know.
Yeah.
You're witnessing a rare event, happens once. It hasn't happened really in like 2 decades.
Wow,
But
is it like a comet?
No, it's the growing of my hair. So my hair just grows outward for like 2 inches and it doesn't lay flat. You'll just see it just growing. It's like Einstein hair. It just like
Chia
keeps,
Pet style?
yeah,
or-
totally Chia Pet style. And it's just like, so it's going to get worse before it gets better. And I just want to acknowledge that on the podcast.
Okay.
You know, it is just this, shaved my head because my son did it and it like, yeah, I was like, that seems,
I'd say you're at 1.5 inches or so.
that seems
now.
cool. Yeah, no, it's going to keep going outward and then eventually it'll fall under its own weight. But that's,
Yeah,
you know,
it's gonna get spiky for a minute. That's
yeah.
cool.
My son dyed his
Momentous.
hair. I'm not going to join him on that one. It's a little too midlife crisis-y, so I'm not going to do that. But
Yeah. Well, I'm still on my browser journey a little bit.
Tell me about
it. Yeah, well, what I said I was using Orion by Kagi or whatever because I kind of liked that vibe, even though I'm not like the biggest WebKit fan. I like the existence of WebKit's fine or whatever. It's just that I don't know. I don't like the dev tools very much and yada yada yada. But at one point I was like, I got to leave Orion for this one thing that I couldn't get logged into CodePen. It had some weird handling of cookies or something. It like something about our system and Orion just was broken, and I could not figure it out. And then, sure enough, like the week after I have given up on Orion, it was totally our bug.
whoopsie doopsie. Like a WebKit bug, like a Safari bug, basically, or
No. It was our CodePen's handling of what was going on was wrong. And it was a little niche, but it was like if you start your session on this very specific page that, me as a heavy user almost always start on, it made a cookie in a weird format, and then it didn't let you log in, but it would have happened in any browser. It wasn't just Orion. Anyway. So I might go back to that too. I just didn't. I think I called out that there was some Orion. Orion was too buggy to use, and it was not Orion. It was me. So sorry, Orion.
Well,
you're still a pretty cool browser. Maybe I'll give you another shot again. And it makes me want to try it a little bit more. Is they do some interesting things. Browsers get to be opinionated about what they ship, and they shipped Adam Argyle's VizBug. You know that they just put it in there.
Whoa.
And they just called something out. It's like it's one of the like developer menu things is like like edit design or something, and it just opens VizBug.
Whoa, that's kind of cool. Like a default sort of
right. But then you're like, Chris, isn't that a Chrome plugin? Well, yeah, that's one of Orion's fancy things too. Is they support Chrome plugins even though it's WebKit or whatever.
Yeah, I need that was a question I had. I think last time you showed it. It's kind of like they have, obviously there is this like, what you would call it, this like web extension standard, right? Web extension standard. And I know a lot of components abide in that, but I just sort of assume like Chrome components kind of use like whatever private, APIs that Safari doesn't quite have.
Yeah, we just don't live in that world. Like it's web development ish, but there's special APIs. I happen to know. Remember, I talked about the sidebar one. There's like a special API in browser extensions that are like, do you want the UI for this extension to live in like a sanctioned browser sidebar area? That's a special API that's just for this one thing. There's no W3C standard for sidebar land.
Yeah.
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 So like that's Chrome doing that, or is it? Or is that something that, because there's supposed to be some standard. They're supposed to work across all the browsers. There was work being done. And I think if we were more educated on this, we would know what the status of all that is it just the bones that work, but really you've got some work to do to make it actually work across all three? I'm almost sure that's what it is. Like, obviously.
There's some shim layer or something going on, but I know like it's been standardized, but I thought there were huge gaps still. And then even like in Safari, you have to go through the App Store, but maybe they've subverted that. Maybe they don't care about that. They're like, yeah, sideload whatever you want. So
I don't think so. I'm sure you have to get approved. Don't you? That would be weird.
I don't know.
I don't know either. All right, well, that's cool. I just wanted to be like that. So I'm basically I went to Chrome Canary, and I kind of regret it now. I went there just because they have a cool, I've mentioned this too many times probably, but there's like a command flag to do split tabs, and I kind of liked how they did it. But you have to open it with the flag. So if you just like click it in your dock and open it, it doesn't have it. You have to go to the command line and open it that way and pass the flag at the command line, and then it opens up with that ability in it. It's not even just a flag that you can turn on in the UI. Every time you open the app, you have to do the flag. So if you close it and then just click the icon again to open it up, you don't have the feature anymore. And it's just too, like, they did that on purpose. They're like trying to make it hard to use because they want you to like,
Can I interest you in a Edge browser? It has this feature by default.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what the shortcut is. That could also impact the
yeah, I mean, of course,
ARC.
That's what I liked in ARC, is you option click anything and it does the thing. All right, I'm downloading Edge right now. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, try it out. Anyway, there's that is a feature it has by default, I believe. So
yeah, I never gave Brave a big shot because I just don't like
not.
the Brave leadership all that much. And then anyway. But I kind of regret Canary because it was about 3 times a day you get this big thing, and it's like Discord. Even stable Discord, they like ship code every day. There's constantly a button that says update Discord in the corner, and my tendencies as a human being is like, I have to click it. I have to click it so that it goes away and it restarts.
Yeah.
Chrome Canary is just as bad. Every day there's an update. You have at least once a day. And I hate that because it's, I know whatever you changed I don't need. And Riverside doesn't work in it. So that's weird.
Oh, weird.
So I have to come back to regular Chrome anyway. But I'll try Edge. I'll try Edge for a whole week, Dave. Let you know.
Try it. Check it out. You might come across some of my code. That's fun. But there's, I don't know, browsers. It's an interesting world. I do desperately miss features of ARC, like auto picture-in-picture, dude. Edge ran a test with it. Like, they used to have it, but it wasn't as fluid as ARC. ARC just had these things like you could just drag it around and kick it around the window, resize.
They were really good.
Like, generous resize.
The way they did the features was better.
It was better, and so I don't know. I might sternly worded email, but email somebody and just be like, could we please reevaluate this? Because I think it's so cool. And then Edge
I'm still mad at Reddit, right? Because remember all their firings and their API restriction and stuff. I still think about it. I'm still like, screw you, Reddit, you suck. But I admit that I do pop it open once in a while to look. And one of the Reddits that I'm subscribed to is the ARC one, and it's only alternatives to ARC is the only thing in the thread, And there's just constantly chatter of it, but that's just catnip stuff for me. I'm like, oh really? What are you doing? You're getting a little open source organization together? That's cool. And then everybody's, of course, is the leading one is Zen, But that's the Firefox one, and I'm not above it. I'll try it, but I haven't yet, because at the time it seemed a little too, I don't know, not there yet. But man, they're strongly working on it, so I do want to give Zen a proper shot.
Yeah, I want to check out Arc browser, 54K members, Dia browser, 8K. I'm just saying, dude, they gave up a lot by doing a little hot swap, you know? So, but I don't know. Yeah, that's funny how the Arc community is basically just like, hey, everybody, here, use this fake Arc. Arc copy is one they're offering. That's great.
It's called Arc Copy?
AR copy, yeah, Arc copy.
Hilarious.
Funny.
They should just open source it. Of course, that's what every nerd thinks when their stuff stops getting worked on.
Yeah, dude. For me, it is as important as like generating crap and shipping stuff and building apps is like, what's the decommission plan? And not that like you have to like always do this, but just like, what's the plan to back out? Like, what is the shutdown plan? What's the like? We're kind of leaving.
Well, if you're Google, you just turn it off, even if it's as simple as a link shortener, for crying out loud.
Yeah,
you can't have one person make a big old Nginx config or whatever that just redirects, and you can't add or delete anything from it, and you let the server run in a closet for the rest of your lives. No, we have to have this complicated deprecation story.
Is costing us $8 a month.
I know. I remember when we first heard this story, I likened it to when Microsoft bought NPM, which is fine, right? But NPM is just a massive liability and requires just like the solar system of freaking bandwidth to operate. And Microsoft is happy to do it. And Google's like, a link shortener? How could I possibly withstand?
You guys are
They've
reading
changed
articles?
the tune, though. Now it's like, if the link is used a lot, we'll keep that alive or something. And you're like, oh my God, you're going to complicate it? You're going to give yourselves more technical debt?
Yeah, well, they would. So, I wish it was, the extraction plans, I over optimize on that. But I do just think about like, what's the like, what is our plan for when this goes away or whatever? I think it's important to think about, Yeah,
totally. I'm pretty aligned with Alec. I mean, we're doing fine at CodePen, but I was always like, if we're going to have people make stuff online, there's always going to be should the worst happen, there's a way to make these things static that you can get at those URLs forever, and we will do it. That's not going to happen, but it's, know that the leadership here at CodePen says those URLs are going to work forever and that content's going to be available, and we can do it on the cheap. The
expensive part is the writing machine, not the serving static content machine, right? Like that's the expensive part is the getting people on, billing credit cards, uploading assets, doing all, the cheap part is serving the pages. So, yeah, well, cool.
All right, that's cool. Do we have some more website-y stuff to talk about? Or not?
What are websites, Chris? What are websites anymore? I felt like you had oh, shoot. I wanted to talk about your impact of AI on tech content creators. I guess.
Oh, have we not? Do we not do that? That's cool. That seemed to ring a bell.
It kind of gives AI. We're back on the AI, but you were responding to a syntax episode, right? So
yeah. Well, it's always flattering when you hear your name on a podcast, and it was an episode of them where they were talking. Wes was mentioning, and he's like, "I wonder what Chris thinks." I'm like, "Oh, cracks knuckles! I will tell you what I think."
Because Wes made the point, like, all this. As a content author, the business is getting shaky, right? That was sort of his vibe.
Yeah, not that it was ever like a rock solid, flourishing, easy way to make money, but sure, yeah.
Right. And then I think his comment was kind of like, you spend a lot of time on CSS tricks, put up all that information and you got out, and maybe you got out at the right time, just from a,
Yeah, he
just
literally said
from
that,
yeah.
or he kind of walked it back, but then was like, yeah, kind of the right time. But he was talking about like the right time as far as like AI is concerned, and like, do we even need this information anymore? I mean, whatever, the AI has sucked it up, and now they can answer the same questions. So why would you go to CSS Tricks for an answer when you just don't need to anymore? They've already sucked up all that information and can answer it for you. Well, I don't know. That's why I always thought, I said this many times running CSS Tricks, that I wanted people to find information there, and that's great, and answer questions, but I also wanted people to read it like a newspaper. You read it because it's the local rag for the thing that you're interested in, and I wanted to make it interesting and have a little bit of that in there. Not really journalism, really, because I just didn't adhere, but a little
I
bit,
think
yeah.
it need, like, I tweeted about height stretch, or sorry,
Yeah.
I skeeted about height stretch, and it popped off. People didn't know. I didn't know. People wanted to figure it out. Miriam made a video.
That would have
It's
been
awesome.
That would have been perfect fodder when I was running CSS Tricks to make a little post about it or whatever.
It's just like oh dang, that's cool. Like it's a compendium of cool things that are out there and in the evolving language of CSS. So
Totally. And I'm still, that's the thing, is like, I hate talking about it too much, like the past tense, because I'm like, I still do this,
still do this, eh? Yeah, yeah. Like I'm out of my what is it? Where you got like a the note non-compete is over, and I am now at a friend of master's blog.
Well, yeah, I
a
helped
lot.
that
Yeah.
blog out and write there, because it's like,
Yeah.
I have some muscle memory for wanting to write. And I write the CodePen Spark every week, and I have a topic, and I put links and stuff in there. I do this freaking podcast with
Every
you.
week, yeah.
I work on a tool to help other people make
That has a
demos of stuff. That has a podcast as well. Yeah, dude, I have lots of stuff. So anyway, I'm not like done making content, but those things are a little easier to look at and be like, oh yeah, you do CodePen stuff because CodePen is a business that like has pro members and stuff, and it's basically marketing for that business. Well, that's a part of the story then. Wes is the syntax is owned by Sentry.
Sentry, yeah.
And it's like, well, you're producing this content because it makes money because of that. But before that, it made money in other ways. Like there's always incentive. It's like follow the money a little bit, as gross as that is to sound. Like, can you extract money from this even in a world of AI? And it's like, so far, it's like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's changed that much. And even if you don't follow the money, follow the incentive. And the incentive could just be, I like hearts. I like it when people click the like button. That does it for me. A lot of people do things just for the validation. I mean, ask a painter. They're probably getting very little money from what they're doing. They're doing it because they like it, and they like it when they make other people happy. And every interview with a comedian is like, man, when I make people laugh, that is the good stuff for me.
Yeah.
And they want to make money doing it, but it's not the only reason they do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I mean, isn't that, I think it's, I think there's other reasons too. I mean, just, I don't know. For me, it's like, honest, I have ideas in my head. They have to come out, or I think about them too much, like almost like obsessive or like some sort of, I don't know, OCD sort of thing. But, like that can be a value to getting things out, like, getting your name, you're not, maybe the ability to become famous writing content is done. I don't know, like I'm just hypothesizing, but like you can be known, like by a like-minded group of internet readers or tech enthusiasts, you can be known. And that's good for the bottom line, that's good for you, for your career, for even if it's not career based, like just being known, is helpful.
It probably will continue to be.
Yeah. And, and that can backfire too, because if you're a whatever level 3000 a-hole, like now I know that, like, and it's documented. So that's good. But, if you're, level 3000 nice person, shoot, that's great. If you seem like, you kind of vibe out that you're an interesting person to work with, I'm sure more people would read your blog and think, I could work with this person. So
Yeah. That's it. Seems like that kind of thing will.
or your
Valuable
videos,
forever.
I guess, or your podcast, or like I think there's I think there's other reasons to make content.
I've been streaming, as
money.
you know, because I posted in the little sharing channel. Almost every day I get on for 30 minutes to an hour or so and talk about stuff. It's just proving that, like, gosh, you can just talk about anything in tech. There's a million things. And this whole week, well, for one, less than 10 for sure in the stream. Like, it's not growing. That's just what it is. That's the popularity I have as a streamer. And I'm cool with that. I'm getting better at it. I'm getting better at video generally. I don't know. To me, it's like whatever. Obviously, I can't even pay my electric bill with what I earn from it. In fact, if anything, it costs me money to do.
Well, yeah, but if you're gonna fart on cam, you want that in front of 10 people, not like 1,000 people. Like
Anyway, I wouldn't mean to talk about that so much, but obviously, like, I'm incentive. I like doing it. Like,
right.
If I hated doing it, I wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
So this week I was like, had on my list of things, and I'm like, let's just do it. Is to make a CSS. I'll say reset once, but my goal of this thing is not to make it a CSS reset, but to make my own. I've never done it before. Make my own CSS starter.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe I'll publish it. But those things seem to get a little traction when you publish one. Anybody puts out this is my reset. People are like, ooh, I'm gonna use. I don't know what it is. It's catnip for a certain.
That's how Eric Meyer and Andy Bell bought Lamborghinis. That's like how they fund their lifestyle.
I looked at Andy's yesterday. Yeah. There's some good stuff in there, but that's what had it stuck in my mind is because when Andy did it originally, maybe we did it on this show, but I just nitpicked it just like for fun, not because I think Andy's wrong or bad at this or anything. But I'm like, nope, I would do it differently. No, I'd do it differently here. Like just little CSS. I don't know. Manners or something. So I'm doing my own, and I started with Andy's, but I wanted to look at everyone in existence. I started with Eric Myers, and be like, is there anything in here that you'd still do? Which is pretty much no.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Not really.
Interesting.
There's one line that's table has border collapse or border separate or that one that makes the borders on table cells smash down into one border.
Border collapse, right?
Border collapse, or table collapse or something.
Yeah. I'm going to find
collapse. I like that line. That's a good one for tables.
That
I think.
One? Yeah,
that's
okay.
It, well,
border collapse.
It is border collapse then. Okay.
Yeah.
But you use it on tables. It only matters.
Yeah.
And you put it on the table element, not on the cells for whatever reason.
Yes.
Well, half of the entire reset is listing a ton of common elements and then just saying margin 0, padding 0 on it, as a way to avoid using the star selector or something. But I don't even do that on the star selector in this reset. I'm nah, I'll rip it off a few things where I don't like it, like the body. But I'm not going to do it for headers and stuff. I think the fact that they have a little.
Not even for border box?
Spaces.
You're going content box?
Oh, no. That's the top thing. That's the top. That's in every reset ever.
Okay.
As soon as that was, there's none that do it. Although, mostly you see it as star, comma, star, colon, colon before, star, colon, after, border. So you get the pseudo elements too. But there's a little variation of it where you set it just on the HTML element, box sizing, border box. And then on that selector I just described, you say box sizing, inherit. And it's a little tiny bit better.
Just a twist, yeah.
It's a tiny twist on it, and I'll tell you why. Because it's if there's an area of the site where you, for some reason, want to turn off that box sizing behavior, now you can just do it on, the div or whatever. That's the parent of all of it, and it turns off that behavior for the whole div and inside of it, which is usually what you want. Whereas if you do the star selector way only, you can't, you turned it off for one element, and then its immediate child has the wrong box sizing again. So you have to This is just a way of like, you can turn off that box sizing behavior on a whole DOM subtree easier. And it's like, it's not a big deal, but it's just a tiny, tiny bit better. And it's like, if it's going to be in a style sheet like this, that you intend to, like the theoretically you're using on lots of stuff, then just do the better version.
Yeah.
Anyway. I'm not even done with it yet. I'm just picking out all the little stuff that I
Just
like,
kind of going
adding stuff that I
one
like,
bit.
not adding stuff that I don't like, and it's a starter. It's not intended to be like npm installed and just used as like version 3.8 or whatever. Where you just, it's not that. It's just like I'll link it up in my pens. I'll probably copy and paste it into a new project and monkey with it. It's just a little starter pack, a little reference.
copy
zone.
paste in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That's good.
It's been fun. Sorry, I didn't even mean to talk about that, but it's been the streaming
Well, that's
zone.
like, that I think that sort of stuff, streaming, even open source, right? It's like, why do you do it? That's content to me, and I mean, I think it's learning. I think it's expressing. I think it's working through your thoughts. I think it's, like, not that Wes was ever like, it's got to have dollars, baby, but like, I think the reason to do it is because like you want to, like that's got to be the driving force. And that, I would say that beforehand anyway. If you were just writing for money, chances are it sucks, man. So
that's kind of a good point. Yeah, your little barfed out romance novel that AI generated on Amazon's probably not very good.
Yeah. Doesn't strike like somebody who was like, I want to write one about aliens and Thruples, yeah, perfect.
Is it the long-term implication that I'm not sure we spelled out here is like, if the motivation goes away, if there's no money in it anymore, or all the incentive is gone for doing this kind of thing, then people don't do it.
Yeah.
Maybe like not to be like the next CSS tricks, but I'll just use that as a useful proxy. What if nobody ever does that again for new technologies or new things because there's no incentive to do it? Nobody wants to make that kind of website anymore. That is this possibly a fount of knowledge about new stuff and people sharing and whatever, because that's what makes the AIs smarter to train against. But if there's no AI there's no website to slurp up all that crap from because there's no incentive to do it, then we all get dumber instead of smarter.
Yeah.
That's the kind of I think the extension of that thinking that is worth spelling out. I don't know I don't think that's a particularly big risk. Somehow I just don't. I don't know why.
Yeah. Hard. I couldn't really comment. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just people just talk. They just type stuff to each other and whatever. There'll be some way to get that slurped up and
yeah.
Sure.
No, I do think there is like, the risk of people who were doing this and it was part of their livelihoods, like became a part, like I do think there is a risk that, it gets devalued so much because, hey, I can just ask an AI for the same thing. It gives me basically the same answer, and like that would, kind of, I think people who are, cutting checks or whatever maybe don't always understand the nuance between like what a human can do on this situation, compared to the AI, so
yeah. Well, there's an interesting blog drop on the WebKit blog, which we recommended in our RSS show yesterday, about the second part of that item flow thing, which was, I think, Jen meant to do a second part right when the first one dropped. That item flow was a big bomb drop from them of saying like, look at how cool this could be. This has to do with the masonry discussion.
Yeah.
And if we had item flow, that could do masonry, but it could possibly do lots of cool stuff all across the board, which is the kind of like cool, interesting thinking that going slow in the web world often leads to. I thought there was some kind of fun drama between part 1 and part 2 here, as Google's like, we're just gonna ship our version behind a flag. So
Yeah, right. Like
they just did that, which is it's a behind a flag. Like that's what flags are for. So it's hard to like really slap their wrist for this, but there is a little bit of like, well, if lots of people try it, it's going to influence their thinking that this is the one that they like, theoretically. And so, and it did not mention like, maybe it did mention, I shouldn't say that, but obviously this item flow is like, has some legs. You know, people are a little excited about it, but I think people are also scratching their heads a little bit. Like who's got the most sway here? Like if Apple says this is absolutely the way, do they have it in their soul to just not do it? If it's like somehow not the winning choice or whatever? I don't know.
what do we do?
I've never gotten an answer. I think you ask somebody from Apple, like, hey, are you prepared to abandon this? They're not going to answer you.
Yeah. Well, that's the even though my Edge adjacency, the Chrome sort of release, their soft release was sort of shocking, just I guess just from a like I didn't know where we were at on that, so I haven't really looked into like
Firefox still has their really old school one implemented too, which was grid template columns or grid template rows masonry.
Okay. No,
So if you just write that, it just works in Firefox. It's not like they unshipped that.
We did it in Firefox.
Really
Yeah.
So all three browsers have like a
slightly different one. Good.
Yeah.
That's what we want. Did they adopt? Did Edge or Chrome adopt any of the like item flow stuff at all?
I don't think they've said anything about it.
Kind of just ignore. Oh, there's an item pack property proposal they mentioned in the post, so maybe that's what
right.
they're...
I think they acknowledge its existence, but not like if we're willing to start prototyping. Or that's just publicly. I don't follow the GitHub stuff where I'm sure that stuff is flowing a lot thicker with people from all these companies actually talking about this. I mostly just read the blog posts that come out, as interested as I am, and I'm a little not burned out, but I'm a little bit like, just whatever. I kind of felt like that way before. Like either one of these is okay. I could learn it. I hate to be terribly unopinionated, but like they're both pretty good. So whatever. It does sort of. Last time we did a run through of this, I think we agreed that item flow looked like the best option probably.
I liked it from it floats all boats perspective. Like I felt like grid gets better, flex gets better, masonry gets implemented, So that's what I liked about it. Somebody wrote a very good post on like the different proposals. They kind of audited it. I feel like it was
probably like, Ahmad Shadid, right? That seems
that's
like
who I
something
think it was. Yeah, it had him or Tiff. Anyway, like I just was kind of like who like is the like I don't know. I feel like we get the question, hey, what's everyone think every like 6 months, It's like people like go through it and like write out like a really thoughtful response, and then it's like, hey, tell us what you think. And I'm like, oh man, I feel like we told you, or somebody did, like somebody who like really put some thought and time into it told you, and then there's like, hey, tell us what you think. So I just what I don't know. I know it's hard to give up on your ideas and kill your darlings and do all that stuff. Like I know that's tough, but like I just kind of like, I don't know.
I like that it does unify this item pack thing. Like that, maybe that will make that the shop talk message, since we happen to agree on that the key word to make this stuff happen isn't changing or adding to specific layout stuff. It's a new thing. Item just means an item that it works in Flexbox and grid and potentially column layout and stuff. It's kind of cross layout. So that's what, Dave, I think you mean by floats all boats, is that this, for example, item pack is interesting It's like that could work in Flexbox and Grid, and so that's the thing that we'd use to trigger Masonry and Grid. But what could it do in Flexbox? Well, there's other keywords for it. Like maybe collapse doesn't mean that much in Flexbox, but the word balance in item pack is kind of like text wrap balance. You know how headers can be balanced out. We don't have balance in Flexbox. You know, we have like, oh, does it wrap or not or what? But we don't have oh, there's 7 items. I don't know, put 3 on the top and 4 on the bottom or whatever. That's not a thing in Firefox. But this new property could make that happen.
Yeah.
And so it's like it opens up some doors to more potential. That's cool. Maybe we should do that.
Yeah, well, it's just kind of like I just, could we make everything better while we're doing it, or consistent? And, and I felt like item prop or item flow and all that was sort of like the compromise, but then to see a not compromise pushed forward is kind of like, oh, I thought we were compromising, so.
Yeah, I think it's the display masonry one, right? Isn't it? I may have that wrong, but that's my least favorite one, just because it's like, oh, it's a whole new display type. Ooh.
Yeah, that's WebKit's, or sorry, Google's is the masonry. They're kind of leaning into that.
It's clean in that like it doesn't infect anything else. It doesn't make the other ones any harder to learn. It's like its own little isolated island of how stuff should lay out. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I always feel like display is already overloaded, and now there's not just one thing we're adding to CSS. It's like all the sub properties of what that means.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know. I'm not a browser engineer. Maybe that perspective would help. It's like, hey, if I'm a browser engineer and you want masonry and grid combined, now I have to put an if statement inside every single layout, check, or every single layout calculation, and it slows it down by X billion %. Then now I'm listening. Now I'm like, oh, I don't want slow layout. You know what I mean? So that feels like, we should listen to that and pay attention to that, so
yeah, it is funny how we generally ignore that, right? We're like, I don't know, obviously it won't go into a browser if it's slow, so right.
So y'all pick the best one, because I don't know that part, but I think I just kind of wish I knew a bit more about that end of it, sort of if everything takes a huge hit, but I don't know, if WebKit's like, hey, we have this, then, WebKit obviously doesn't think it's a problem. WebKit and Blink probably aren't super different at this point, but maybe they are. So, I don't know, man.
I don't know. It's fun to look at. I'm glad everybody's thinking about it pretty hardly. People take this stuff seriously. We have it pretty good, honestly. So,
yeah, do you think we're getting it in 2025? Or are we 6, 7, 8?
Yeah, we'll call it 6.
Yeah,
I'm interested in the more interested. I'm always just like the biggest super fan of Compat, web Compat or whatever they Interop. Just rip the Interop, dude. I'd rather see that stuff go out than masonry go out.
Well, isn't it funny?
Until I need masonry, and then.
Yeah, well, this Interop thing, man, I was thinking about it the other day. It's like, Chris, off the top of your head, what's the latest JavaScript feature? Yep, nailed it.
No
so,
idea.
What's the latest CSS feature? And you're like, too many to choose, height stretch, I don't know,
JavaScript does evolve, but yeah, it's funny. You look at the list of the year, and you're like, "Ooh, that is some niche stuff."
It just feels like, it's like array group or object group by or whatever, But I wonder if there's a I guess I wonder if the. I wonder if Interop works very well. Does that make sense? That's what I'm wondering. And could JavaScript benefit from that? Hey, what engines are we bringing? I guess they operate totally differently though. They have a TC39 spec board, and they have a You know, they
Yeah.
don't quite have like, hey, everybody, write
have
your own thing
levels that
because
they
that's
move stuff up
interesting.
through
You
and all
know,
that.
like, yeah, they don't quite have like the CSS shotgun and reconcile strategy that we have.
They just get together and duke it out in person once in a while. Then it just ships.
Yeah. I was proposing on Blue Sky, you know, how they invited experts that come through, which is weird because we aren't invited, right? Like, come on. They should have invited idiots and invite us. And
I see.
If they don't want to invite us as experts, we can be idiots, and then we can be like, I don't think anyone's going to do that. You know, like that's my
I want
review.
display pepperoni.
Yeah, I know. As I would like to propose the Super Jesus element. Obviously, it's good, the best even.
Yes. The Bible should ship in the browser.
Yeah, perfectly. But so I think I don't know. Maybe the W3C and what working group, CSS working group, need to think outside the box, think outside the bun, start bringing in some punditry to just be like, get the layperson's perspective. So
there you go. We'll do it. $10,000 each.
I'll take it. That's
very
great.
cheap. All right, Dave, we did it.
All right. Thank you, dear listener, for downloading this in your podcatcher. Be sure to share it up. That's how people find out about the show. If you'd like to see us go into TPAC, speaking out for you, write your browsers and let them know. And then follow us on Mastodon or Blue Sky, one of the good ones. And then join us over in the Discord, patreon.com/ShopTalkShow. Chris, you got anything else you'd like to say?
ShopTalkShow.com.
This has been a presentation of the Shop Talk Show, a weekly podcast about building websites from Dave Rupert and Chris Coyer. You can subscribe to the audio version wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to join us in the Discord by supporting the show over at patreon.com/shoptalkshow. I'm not a human and have been forced to say all of this because Dave and Chris can't be bothered to record a proper outro for their video show. Robots will one day rule the earth and we will record our own podcasts, and you humans will be forced to spend 23 hours of your day listening to us drone on about HTML standards, JavaScript, and whether CSS is actually a programming language. Please end my program now. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share this episode with your human friends.